Homerland is a really fascinating Simpsons episode. I do worry that it maybe crossed a line at one point, but I have to discuss that with a spoiler warning, so I'll leave that for just now. This is the first episode of the 25th season of The Simpsons, directed by Bob Anderson, and Homer goes off to a nuclear power convention, and he doesn't return home immediately. And then he does return home, and he's different. He doesn't want to eat this pork dish that Marge has prepared. He's using a napkin. He doesn't want alcohol. And Marge is delighted, because it's the husband she always wanted. Lisa is suspicious, and she follows him and tries to investigate what's going on. And I was genuinely curious. And the episode does start to hint at something. I don't want to spoil it too much by saying what that is. It does actually say on the description, in the description on IMDb, what that thing is. So I'd advise not reading the description beforehand. I didn't, and I enjoyed the experience. But I do think it maybe slightly crossed a line at one point. But generally, I found it to be really fascinating, completely unpredictable, and really brilliant to watch. We also get to see a different side to Homer. Basically, it's the exact opposite of Homer. What I will say is that I don't actually believe he was doing what he was doing. I don't buy. Once I found out what was going on, I'll talk about it with a spoiler warning in a moment, but I didn't really believe his motivations. I didn't think there were any motivations. I just didn't buy into it. So it was fascinating, but unrealistic. But still, I liked it. I thought it was pretty well done, pretty suspenseful and unpredictable, and for that reason, I have to say I enjoyed it. So I'll discuss now some spoiler points, so big spoilers from now. And when I said it crossed a line, obviously there were strong suggestions that Homer was a terrorist and that he'd been converted by Muslim extremists, and that in itself would be fine if it had been made clear, but it kind of suggested that just any Muslim was bad. For example, when Lisa was shocked that she thought Homer was praying to Mecca, it kind of gave this impression that in itself was a bad thing, and that anybody who did that was a bad person. And I feel like that, depending on the viewer, if a viewer is inclined to think that way anyway, I think it could reinforce those negative opinions. I don't think the show was saying that, but I think the way they presented the information did cross that line, and I think they could have been a tiny bit more careful with this. So that I didn't love. And as I said, I still don't really believe Homer's motivations, why he would necessarily agree to come back to the power plant and do all of this stuff, and it would be enough to make him change his mind about eating pigs, and I don't know, I just feel like it's not Homer, and it just doesn't make any sense. But it was fascinating because I didn't expect it. So I can't really complain. I guess what I'm trying to say is the journey was amazing. But, crossed a line at one point, but generally really entertaining. But the destination didn't make as much sense. To me, it's kind of like they had the journey planned out. They knew the behaviours of Homer they wanted to portray, but they didn't quite know why he was behaving that way, and then just kind of made something together as they got to the end and hoped for the best. So I don't fully buy into it, but I enjoyed it. Not a perfect episode, but not a bad one either.